Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm Dawn Giesica.
And I'm JD Denver.
And it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of eastern Kentucky. And I think we've got a fun show for you guys this week. I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about. Nothing really going on. Nothing going on in our Facebook feeds. Nothing to really talk about. But we'll try to get through this next hour anyway. So, guys, how's your weeks been?
Good. They were really good. I'm always blessed. So it was a good weekend. Hung out with the Toddy, who's at work tonight. I think everybody's listening to us there. So, hey, guys.
What's up, everybody there? My weekend's been cool, man. My week was long, bro. I've been sick. I've been struggling.
Yeah,
JD wasn't with us last week, and you know that JD doesn't feel good if he doesn't come on this podcast.
Right? Yeah.
If
he doesn't want to come on and argue with me, then he must be dying, right?
Absolutely. I can't even deny that. I was feeling down, man. I missed 2 days of work this week. I didn't work Monday or Tuesday. I was in bad shape, and I ended up sucking it up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even worked yesterday. But this cough I've got will not go away. My allergies have been killing me. I had a house cleaner come my day, and she dusted and stuff, and I'm all jacked up. I've been sneezing and coughing, and I feel better, but it's been when I get a cough, man, I feel like I keep it forever.
Well, I can't kick these allergies myself, man. Last weekend, I was sick because my allergies were kicked in. I got the COVID, my second COVID shot. That made me feel bad. Kind of got past all that. And then really this week, I'm the same way. I can't kick the cough. I still have some drainage just wearing me out. And I think that's just everybody right now. The weather changing back and forth between warm and cold. I said I don't think that helps anything either. I went to the movies last night for the first time.
Oh yeah, what'd you watch?
I watched Ghostbusters. It was
you're living large on a Saturday night, Jimmy.
I know. Well, it was kind of like a de facto date / take our daughter to a party kind of deal. It was one of her friends had a birthday party at Texas Roadhouse, so Amy and I went and sat at the bar and ate. Then went over to the movies and ended up watching Ghostbusters, which was good. But it was really the first time I'd been in a movie theater since the pandemic started. Like I hadn't been in the movie theater, and so that was actually kind of cool to be back and watch it on the big screen.
How was the movie?
Huh?
How was Ghostbusters?
It was good, actually.
I've heard a lot of good about it, honestly.
Yeah, it was really good. It was PG-13. I would take my kids to watch it. If you're worried about cussing and things like that, it's not in there. It's kind of like, this younger group, but they also pay homage to, the original Ghostbusters and they show up. So it's cool, man. Like it was actually a really fun movie to watch and it was just cool to be back in the theater. Also, guys, our cats had a nice sports weekend. Couple different things happened. Friday night, the basketball team beat Ohio U, which was actually a pretty good team. They beat Virginia last year in the NCAA tournament. Beat them by double digits. Then the football team took care of business on Saturday. And also Kentucky's own Reed Shepherd signed with the Cats, man. Yeah. I said, I'm pumped about that. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be at the Zip Zone Classic this weekend.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, really?
Okay. Was that North Laurel? Who's that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost certain that they're coming down. Zip Zone Classic will be, I guess, probably Friday or Saturday, which is for people, out of the area that don't know, it's one of the best panorama basketball events in the state of Kentucky. Zip Zone here, local business owner, puts this together every year. They'll play at the high school, and they'll play ball from 10 a.m. till, almost 10 o'clock that night, and you'll have teams from all over the state of Kentucky and West Virginia, the best teams, come and play each other. It's usually West Virginia versus Kentucky, and it's a lot of fun. And if we get Reed Shepherd, that could be a good time. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited about his commitment. Aren't you guys? Everybody's got the burning question on, do you think Cal will play him?
If he's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's good enough, he'll play. He's obviously got the pedigree.
Some would argue Dante Allen's good enough to have more minutes.
Dante Allen can't play defense, and Dante's got to learn how to play defense. Dante can stroke it. There's no doubt. He's great on offense, but he just doesn't play a whole lot of defense, and Cal is a defense coach.
I think it's great. Like, everybody's like, oh, they got the argument that this guy can do this guy can do that. These guys are the coaches, and they get paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. Like, Cal knows what he's doing, guys. I promise you. He's won a national championship, and we're always at the beginning of the season like struggling with these small teams, and at the end of the year, we're always making a run at the NCAA. So you got to put your faith in your coach, and he'll put the right guys on the court.
What did you think about the football team, JD? I mean, still we turn the ball over like it's crazy that we're 8-3 and have the worst turnover margin in the country, and now we get to go play Big Bad Louisville, play the Dirty Birds.
Yeah,
L's down, and so next weekend, and really that to me. And I'm interested to hear this from both of you. Like, we're 8-3. We beat Louisville. We're 9-3, and we've had a pretty good year. We're going to go probably to the Outback Bowl, play a good team, and it'll be fun. The Tennessee loss still hurts me, right? Because I felt like we could have beat Tennessee, and I hate the Vols. But if you lose to Louisville, then it's going to change the way people perceive this season. Don, what do you think?
Like you said, the Tennessee thing still stings me. So I kind of tuned out after that loss. So I will defer to JD on that. You guys hump football way more than I do. I'm still on the basketball train. I'm wondering if our new commit's going to play. And back to his comment about having faith in the coach, I'm not a big Cal fan. So we'll have to see after last season on just what kind of coach we have.
Knox, hush your mouth.
Yeah, that's cussing around here for sure.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a possibility, though.
There's a possibility. And LSU. Yeah. He's on the short list.
He's already reached out and talked to Stoops. That's disheartening to me for sure. This guy's a proven winner. Caitlin, I appreciate your comment. I am trying to take care of myself and get better soon. I'm trying my best. But I'm just too stubborn to go to the doctor. Maybe I'm not trying my best. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But I'll get better. We'll beat this thing.
We'll talk football.
I want to say, man, I seen a picture of Jordan Davis, and I didn't realize how big this dude is.
Oh, yeah.
There was a picture of him beside one of the coaches and another defensive tackle who's like 6'3", 315. And then there was Jordan Davis. That guy, the defensive tackle from Georgia, is a freaking monster, bro.
He's a monster, dude.
Yeah. I told
Did you see him run that touchdown yesterday?
Yeah.
I told you guys I follow him on Instagram, and he's like a giant teddy bear. Yeah. I mean, he's a real sweet kid. Seems to be anyway.
I love him. And I don't generally love like opposing, teams players, but I love him. He's a freak. But back to Stoops, like it's one thing, it shows the success that he's had here in our program. But like it smothers me to death to think that he would leave. Yeah. I mean, like it smothers me out because I have sat through the 2 and 10 seasons and I sat through a lot of those, and we have SEC athletes now. We are in every game. We've got a chance. I mean, I kind of still feel like even this year, as long as we can finish the season off and beat Louisville and do what we're supposed to do, it's just the next step. For us building ourselves up, because he came with nothing. But
it was very empty when he got here.
Yeah, it was. But Florida is a dumpster fire. Stoops has got connections down there.
Yeah,
that's the kind of school that people believe could win a national championship. Same with LSU, and that's not necessarily thought of. The Kentucky football program. And I just hope they give him whatever he wants and he stays.
Right. In the football world, boys, when the main coach leaves, would the new offensive coordinator go with him?
But Cohen may be gone anyway. I think he's getting looks at a head coaching job somewhere else too, and which is fine. I love Cohen's offense. I think Stoops will stay on top of that. I think JD might agree with that. I think he'll stay with that style of offense. But yeah, he may take his whole staff with him. If he takes the big dog Vince with him, that it's going to hurt. And who you going to get? Who you going to get to come to Kentucky that's done what Stoops has done?
Probably nobody. I feel like look at Eric Bieniemy. Maybe the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. I think would be a great. He's interviewed for a lot of head coaching jobs in the NFL. Hasn't landed one yet. You reach out to somebody like that. Somebody's looking to be the guy in the program. So there's people out there, man. But we've got our guy. I hope we keep him, lock him up.
Well,
hopefully. Also, man, agree with you about the Louisville game. We need to finish the season off right, and so it doesn't put a real damper on our season. Mm-hmm. Lock this thing up and then go in there and beat Louisville. But Louisville's hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah,
bro.
They're good, man.
They kids can play.
Yeah, he can. That quarterback's good. And it worries me a little bit. Like, I think our defense is so banged up, and then we're turning the ball over. Like I don't know. It just worries me. But I think we go down there. I think our boys will be ready to play, and I think they'll smack Louisville in the mouth. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
For sure.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about before we get into the topic of the evening? I do want to say, if you're watching right now, do us a favor and share this feed on your Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching it from. Share this feed. Tell everybody about the Just Add Bourbon podcast. We continue to grow weekly, and we appreciate your guys' support. So let's get into the topic that blew my phone up. And I don't know which one of you guys posted that, if it was JD or Don. But and this is, I don't like Facebook necessarily. Mm-hmm. I don't get on there a whole lot. There's various reasons for that. But it's so negative, A. But B, I just don't get on Facebook a lot. But all of a sudden, my phone started dinging, and it kept dinging, right? And there's these notifications coming through our Facebook page. And I thought, what is going on? My first thought was, what is JD done? I was like, what has he got on there?
Because I'm the good child.
That's fair.
That's right. It is fair. No, I was like, JD's got on there and said something. But I looked, and it was the Kyle Rittenhouse. Verdict comes down. He was found not guilty on all counts. And one thing before we get into the conversation, guys, we really want you guys to comment tonight. And we want to try to answer to some of your comments, because we had tons of people comment on those posts and getting disagreements back and forth and debate. And it all seemed to be pretty civil, which is good. That's what we want. Guys, initial reactions. JD, let's start with you. Initial reaction to the verdict.
My initial reaction is interesting, because we actually talked about this Wednesday, you and I did.
Yeah.
Where I didn't get to be on the podcast Sunday. I know you talked about some there, but my initial reaction is they got it right. And they acquitted him, and everything should go on the way it was. That was my initial reaction to the verdict.
Don, what about you?
Oh, well, I told you 2 weeks ago. I didn't even think it should have went before a jury. I mean, it was a clean-cut self-defense case with video evidence. But, the media spun, and pushed. And then we end up with this big polarizing, riveting case that now is showcasing the two different divides, or the two different teams we have in this country. So by giving it such a platform, it hasn't helped anything. Do I agree with the judgment? Sure, I do. You all know that. But I hate how everybody is back and forth. I hated to see the passion on our Facebook. I did. But, that's what the media does, right? They want to keep us spun up against each other. That's their whole job.
And I agree with that. And I felt the same way. I'd heard the verdict. I didn't know a ton about it. And I told Don on here last week, JD, that and this is just my ignorance from not reading about it or whatever, but I actually thought the people that he killed were black, because of the way they were calling him a racist and a white supremacist and all the things that they were saying about him.
A mass shooter. They called him a mass shooter. Yeah.
There was a lot of things like that. But JD said something to us right before we came on. A question was posed to him by somebody. And I'm going to let JD kind of throw that question out now, and let's kind of attack it from this angle. So, JD, just share with the audience what question was asked to you about this trial.
So, first off, just so we know, and the audience knows, that I have since changed my mind about the acquittal being the right decision.
Yeah, and I was wondering when that was coming.
We are going to talk about that here in a minute.
Of course.
But I want to talk about what the question that was posed to me, which I thought was a really, really good question, is that why was this such a why was this such a big deal? Why were we getting national alerts? Why was Apple News alerting people? Why was MSNBC alerting people? Why was Fox News so invested? Why was CNN so invested? And to me, it's obvious that they want to keep us in our tribes, in our lanes, and separated and fighting. And here in a minute, we're going to bicker about it. So it's working, you know what I'm saying? But it's just interesting to see how good they are at their job of keeping us bickering back and forth and keeping us divided and keeping you're going to buy this paper and you're going to buy that paper and I want to watch this news channel and you're going to watch that news channel. But you know what? Nobody here even knows Kyle Rittenhouse. Nobody in this state probably knows Kyle Rittenhouse. But we're going to be totally invested in this. In here in a minute, we're going to go at it pretty good about it, I'd say. But it's just because they want to keep us in our tribes and on our teams.
Yeah, Don, what do you agree with
why
that?
do you? Yes, the media wants. Of course, I agree that they want to keep us in our own camps. But the question is, why? Why do they want to do that? And we're not talking about just the media. The media is left-leaning. I know JD may not agree, but it is. It's left-leaning. We have, of course, our alt-right stations too. But if they can keep everybody stirred, then that gives them ratings, viewership, and power. We've got politicians making comments, inappropriate comments on this case too, and they're also stirring their tribes up. So we have to decide in this country, are we ever going to start figuring out that we're better as a country together versus divided, or are we going to continuously keep buying into this fighting back and forth? Like JD's like, we're going to go at it pretty good. Well, I'll debate it all day long because, there's really no debate for me because it's already won and done. But why are we going to argue over something, like he said, over a kid we don't even know?
Yeah, and I told you guys, before we started that who I feel like lost in this, like you said, both of you said it, we don't know this guy. This happened in state a long way from us. And, most of the people that are commenting on our feeds are from here, right? So why do they do that? I think, and this is my opinion, but I think to keep our eye off the ball of what's really going on. Yeah. And B, the media, who lost here was the media. They tried to control the verdict in a lot of these cases by putting pressure on. And in my opinion, it's so that we adhere to what the mob wants.
That's right.
And they put the pressure on, and then when they lose their ever-loving minds. Like, they go nuts. And so, but JD, do you agree with that at all as far as I think it's the saying is united we stand, divided we fall. If the people of this country ever figure out that one thing, that we, the people, have the power, not the politicians, not the people that are there. They're the ones who are up there drawing the paycheck, but we, the people, have the power. If we ever figure that out, we can truly get our country back. From the left and the right.
I agree with you, man. But the problem, I feel like there always should be, when I hear united we stand, divided we fall, there should always be an asterisk. Because like you all, I like checks and balances. I like people calling me on my bullshit. I like people that with a different point of view to me. I like with people I think this is progress, but you don't see that as progress. You see that as something bad. You know what I mean? I see what you see as progress. I see that as moving backwards. And so, not united we stand, divided we fall. Yes. But I like the checks and balances. I like that, Congress gets up and debates with each other and they bring out these ideals. And that's a good thing for us. We all win when that happens. When we don't win is when what we're talking about here is when, the media's controlling just everything, controlling the politicians, controlling where the money's going, controlling how the verdicts come down. That's when we lose. That's when we lose is when we give up our power. And, and it's why Kentucky has lost for so long. And it's not a Republican Democrat thing, but you could elect the same people without any consequences for their actions for 30, 40 years. You're going to lose every single time because there's no consequences for your vote. And you're not progressing or making any effort forward because that guy's got an R beside his name. I'm just going to vote for him. Or that guy's got a D beside his name, and I'm going to vote for him. That's when we lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dawn, what do you think about that?
I agree with what he's saying, but unfortunately, it is what it is. We're always going to be a two-party system. It seems like we're always going to have debate and differences, but we have crossed the line into incivility to when our media is calling for the death of minors. We watched it go on with the Sandman kid. Remember the Christian kid who the media let us know real quick that because he was at a pro-life march, that he was automatically racist when the Native American approached him. They had him out. I mean, they called him completely out. The kid's worth $250 million plus now because he sued and won, which I fully intend for Rittenhouse to probably do the same. We have crossed a line, and it's not healthy to be going after people when you don't even have the facts. That's where my problem is. We have no evidence of anything. We're all passion, and we're just going to go after people. That's my problem with the media.
I like this comment from James because I think it's correct. They stirred the pot to keep us at one another so they can keep us divided. If we are together, we can keep an eye on the government, and they don't want that. And I think that's 100% that's keeping our eye away from what's really going on.
Right, because there's other cases going on that nobody has talked about this entire
week.
Nobody
cares about, continue a player in them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. So let's move into a little bit about JD. You said that your mind changed. At first, you thought it was, this way.
Sure.
Like, why has your mind changed?
Well, when I talked to you Wednesday, I admitted to you I didn't have a whole lot of information, but it sounded like that they got it right. And so, first, I just thought that it felt like I knew we was going to talk about this. So I was like, so I really need to figure out my position on this. Is this something I agree with? Is this something I disagree with? And something I think that we both agreed on Wednesday was when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, if Kyle Rittenhouse is in Kenosha, Wisconsin, there's two people still alive, but he was there, and I think everybody would agree you have a right to protect yourself. Once things start turning south, you have a right to protect yourself. But from what I gather, he is the one who caused the ruckus, and then he claims you can't cause the situation, the problem, and then claim self-defense. That doesn't make any sense to me.
The ruckus was the protest.
So
what you're saying, what you just said was that if Kyle wasn't there, none of this would happen. My argument would be, had they not been burning down businesses and protesting and rioting and putting people in danger, then Kyle or anyone else wouldn't have had to have gone.
Yeah, but those things did happen, and there was a bunch of people there not named Kyle Rittenhouse that nobody shot or nobody got in a fight with. There was no situation with. There was no problem with. But that one guy. So why was there so many people there carrying the guns that day, but he's the one that had the problem? Why is that?
I'm sorry, I don't get that.
There was a bunch of people there that day that had weapons, right?
Right.
But Kyle was the only person that ended up killing anybody that night.
Kyle was being chased.
Yeah, because Kyle interjected himself where he didn't have any business putting himself, right?
But the same could be said about the protesters.
Yes, but Don, the protesters didn't kill anybody. So the protesters were on trial.
The protesters were literally kicking him in the face.
Why? Why was he kicking him in the face?
So the kid was, because he was running from him and he fell. Had he not fallen, then maybe they wouldn't have kicked him in the face.
Why was he running from him?
Because they were chasing him?
Why was they chasing him?
You tell me, JD.
Because he interjected himself in what was going on, right?
So what you're telling me?
Yeah, I'm not following exactly. So he was there. He was there.
So I think JD's saying that if a protest is going on, then an opposing set should never go. That's what you're saying. That's what your argument's saying. Why was Kyle running? Why was Kyle doing this? Why was Kyle doing that? That's what you're asking.
I think the Rosenbaum guy actually provoked him.
And then your answer was, I am doing it step by step. Then your answer was, because he injected himself.
Right.
Well,
because he personally, not because there was opposition there. There was all kinds of people that agreed with Kyle Rittenhouse that were there that didn't shoot anybody, Don.
The protesters injected themselves when they started burning businesses down. So my argument is the same.
It's vigilante.
The same. Had they not been protesting and burning businesses down and endangering civilians, regular citizens, then the Kyles of the world wouldn't have went up there and made their stand.
So that's vigilantism. So that's a good thing, right? We should be vigilantes, right?
Just like the protesters.
That's lawlessness.
So
that's lawlessness. So you're
what do you think busing loads of people on buses
Don,
and giving them boards, They
didn't shoot anybody, Don.
Giving them boards and telling them to burn things down and giving them gas cans. What do you think that is?
So JD, let me ask you this. Hold on. Let me ask you this. So are you saying that Rittenhouse said something to these people that provoked them to chase him?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. He's provoked. He provoked the situation.
So
That
Rosenbaum
didn't come out in the trial anywhere, though. That he
Actually,
provoked them.
It did not. It did
was
not.
vice versa. It was they actually got in his face.
No,
It's
because
opposite.
you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
This is
They did
sworn
come out of trouble.
testimony.
So, well, absolutely, it is. They were setting a fire, and he did what? He went in and tried to stop what they was doing, right? So you wanted to run to a mad mob at a 17 years old with an AR strapped on your back and claim to be a medic?
They started a fire
in a dumpster.
And was rolling the dumpster toward what? Let's go step by step. That's what you said you wanted to do.
Okay.
So they were rolling the dumpster to where?
A car lot.
A gas station that had a gas tank on it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put two and two together. But I bet if the burning dumpster hit a gas tank or a gas pump, that wouldn't be a good outcome, right?
You're probably right, Don. So we should, every time we see somebody doing something wrong, we should shoot somebody. Is that what you're saying?
He didn't shoot anybody.
Yeah, but that's
at that time.
At that time.
You have to listen to the whole
But he
sentence.
created the situation, Don, by
he did not shoot anybody at that time. When he went to interject,
so
he started getting attacked.
So there's 30 people build a fire here, and one guy jumps in to stop them, and you expect that to be a good outcome? And then you claim self-defense? That doesn't make any common sense. That don't make any sense at all.
Okay, step by step. So let's just skip all that and let's go to when he pulled the trigger. Every time he took a shot, he was laying on his back. On his back.
I agree with all that.
So that sounds to me.
But he caused the situation, Don. That's the whole point of it. I told Jim Don that same thing Wednesday. I don't know what led up to him shooting him. And once I found out what led up to him shooting, this guy's guilty. If his presence isn't there, because there's a bunch of people there that disagree with the protesters.
Right.
There was a bunch of people there carrying weapons.
And there was a bunch of people there that if they had gotten chased and beaten, your argument is literally this: if you're being chased, you need to lay down and take your beating. That's interesting. That is
not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, don't create a situation where you can get chased. You know what? There were people there who didn't get chased. You know why? Because they didn't force themselves into a situation like that, did they?
They absolutely did, because they went up there.
Here's my only thing, JD. Like, what you're saying is not what I heard in the court case. Is I didn't hear them say that he started it with them. That he was there, he had the gun, they were doing their thing, then they got up in his face, and when they threatened him, he took off running, and they chased him. That's what I heard in the court case. But they did,
after he interjected himself and caused the situation. Dude, like I said, I don't think you're going to find anybody in America who's going to say you don't have a right to defend yourself. But I
don't think that. I'm more concerned about the initial, like, why
what's
he
at the
got
fuse
chased.
Off? What's at the fuse off, right? There's something. The point of this where the counter peg was lit, and that's when Kyle, if he doesn't interject himself there, those guys are still alive. Anybody disagree with that?
If the protests hadn't been going on, there probably wouldn't be dead.
So if the protests wouldn't have been going on, he wouldn't interject himself. So if he doesn't interject himself after the protest goes on, are those people still alive?
As long as the protests aren't going on.
But if the protests
that doesn't matter.
I'll ask you again. I'll ask you again.
Your vigilante stance is so weak that the state didn't even bring it up. All the state wanted to do was try to figure out how to make the self-defense argument weak. And they couldn't figure it out. I mean, honest to God, they couldn't. Prosecution gave it to them.
And the thing is, JD, they could have walked away too. They could have. He said, and they could have just walked away.
Right, but JD will never say that. They could have stopped chasing him.
They absolutely could have. Yes, I agree.
But that's Kyle's fault. Everything is still Kyle's fault, right?
It's Kyle's fault because you have a volatile situation, guys. These guys are very emotional.
But we need to stick to the facts.
They're not out there because singing "Kumbaya" and holding hands.
We've already established that they're protesting, and you've got two different sides up there protesting, and two different sides. And we already established
only one guy shot somebody, but that was probably just a coincidence.
But what we need to establish now is why. Why did he shoot somebody? JD, you're in a fight almost every other weekend. So if somebody knocked you down, caused you to fall, kicked you in the throat, kicked you in the face, took a skateboard to you, I guarantee you, if you had a gun, you would put a cap in their hind end. So it's interesting to me.
I think I just said that, actually.
It's interesting to me that you're saying that this guy's guilty of murder when we all agree, I think, that he also had a right to self-defend.
I
really don't know what you're arguing. You're telling me that he's guilty.
So I'm trying to break it down.
Jimmy Don, help. Are you completely following what he's saying? 1 minute he's saying that this guy's completely guilty and I guess needs prison, death sentence. And then the next minute he's saying that he has a right to self-defense.
I'll tell you like this, Don. If I walk up to somebody in a bar and I punch them in the mouth, they turn around and shoot me, and then I shoot them back and kill them, who started that fight? Was that self-defense on my part?
You punched somebody in the mouth and then they shot you?
Yeah, and then I shot them back and killed them. Was I the victim?
Was he the victim? You tell me.
Was I a victim?
You tell me.
In your argument,
I'm asking you because I want to know.
But the thing is, in your argument, you are, because you're not the victim. The person that got killed is the victim. Is that what you're saying? Like, I'm trying to follow you here.
Absolutely right. Exactly right. Yes.
The thing is, though, at the end of the day, what I heard, like look, I agree with you on the self-defense part and that whole thing. Where I'm having a hard time is the premise of how this started. Look, if they hadn't been protesting, he wouldn't have been there.
Right.
He probably shouldn't have been there to begin with. He probably didn't have any business to be there, but he was there. He wasn't breaking any laws. He wasn't breaking any laws. He wasn't doing anything.
He was breaking any laws. Yeah, carrying that weapon. He was.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
They threw that completely out.
I know he threw it out. But so we're going to talk about the judge in a minute, but we'll get off all that.
It's Wisconsin. We can't argue that. That's Wisconsin law. He didn't do. He was not breaking any law of any kind.
That they dug up.
So the people protesting had the right to protest too. They wouldn't even be arrested, right?
Yeah, nobody's arguing that.
So okay, go ahead.
All right. So, but again, it comes down to what I heard, and I read quite a bit about this, right? But I knew we were going to talk about it. And I read quite a bit about this. That he did not start it. Basically, he was there. And they got up in his face. He got scared and took off running, and they chased him. He fell. One hits him with a skateboard. One dude points a gun at him.
Sure.
And so he, as a kid, and I'm sure as a
17-year-old kid,
scared to death, pulled the trigger on that gun. All right, now, like I said, that's our primary disagreement is what actually started it. What I heard was that they started it. They chased him. He was a 17-year-old kid.
Let's dissect that a little bit then. Let me dissect it a little bit. Because just for the sake of since I'm in the minority here, especially with everybody listening and all that. So there's a protest going on. And out of all the people that was out there carrying guns, they just decided they was going to attack this one kid. That was it. Of everybody that was there, they was going to attack that one kid. Is that the argument?
I don't know why they.
That's what happened.
Yeah,
but it's not what happened.
You would.
It is what happened. That's what happened.
Not according to what has been
court
said
transcript.
That's not according to what's been reported on every news. They started a fire in a dumpster, and he interjected himself, bro.
But the point of the case is, no matter. Okay, let's just play along. Let's say that he completely started it and is completely at fault. Once he was being chased, fell, and being attacked,
I agree with that.
You really think that he is obligated to take the beating?
No, that's what I'm telling you. Where I stand at is because he set it off.
But you said he was guilty. No, you said that he was guilty.
You have to let me answer if you want to ask me a question.
So that means that you don't agree.
You have to let me answer if you want to ask me a question now.
Well, have at it.
Well, I'm trying. So he's not. I thought I just said very plainly that we all have a right to defend ourselves.
Unless you're a Republican, I guess.
What are you talking about, Don? What are you talking about?
It makes no sense.
What does that got to do with the Republican or Democrat? What are you talking about?
It makes no sense to me. You literally said this guy is guilty on everything.
I didn't.
Everything. That's what you said. That he was guilty.
You said he was guilty.
You said he was completely guilty. So now you're saying that he had right. But that's not what the case is about. The case is about, did he have a right to defend himself from being attacked?
The point where he was on the ground and stuff like that, absolutely had a right to defend himself. The point is, had he not interjected himself in the protest that was happening, those people would be alive. I do not believe for 1 second, and you will never convince me, that these people were walking around protesting and rioting and tearing shit up, and they said, hey, let's mess with that dude with the AR strapped to his back. You'll never convince me of that. Never. Because it doesn't make any sense. And what you're saying makes no sense. Because if he doesn't interject himself in their protest, then those two people are still alive. So he's not the victim here. These are the people that took loss for life are the victim here.
Right. No, don't get me wrong. I don't care how you think it started, because that's not what the case was. I'm worried about if you think that this kid had a right or not to defend himself once he was being attacked.
Oh,
So
that's
where I want. Well, no, you said that he was guilty on all charges.
I've never said all charges one time tonight, actually.
Okay, well, you said he was guilty on everything. Jim Don, you'll have to rewind it, but I mean, unless my ears are wrong, you said I changed my mind. He's guilty.
I do think he's guilty of.
Okay, so. But that wasn't what he was charged for.
Because you won't let me talk, apparently.
Okay.
Apparently, if you can't cause a situation to erupt and then claim self-defense, no matter who you are or where you're at or what the situation is. If I go to a bar, like I said, and rush up and punch somebody in the mouth, and then they shoot me, and then I shoot them back and kill them, who's the victim?
These people bust themselves in to protest and burn things down. I mean, so I just don't know what you want. They started it all these protesting and rioting and all this vitriol and all that. That's where it all came from.
And the thing is he had as much right to be there as those people protesting. He was essentially protesting in a different direction.
Sure.
He had as much right
and a bunch of people were.
And he had as much right. And like I said, the thing is, why did that occur? The people who attacked him were criminals. They all had criminal records. Now, should they have died because they're criminals? No. Right. That's a silly argument. No. That doesn't matter. You shouldn't get killed. Maybe you're a reformed criminal, but they were criminals. Maybe that is why they decided to chase him.
And he wasn't protesting, by the way.
Well,
I know he wasn't protesting, but you know what I'm saying. He had as much right to be there as anybody does. Sure. He wasn't breaking the law. He wasn't doing anything. They weren't breaking the law by protesting. And Don's right in the sense that who started it doesn't even matter, because that's not what the case was even about. The case, they both had the right to be there. Something went down, and then he ran, and they attacked him, and he defended himself. They asked the one guy that lived. They asked him on the stand. I heard this. They said, when you had your hands up, did he shoot anybody? And they were like, no.
No.
They said, when you pointed the gun at him, did he shoot? Yes. And that is, like I said, that is at the end of the day, that's the crux of it.
So, but in every legal, like any court in America, who started it does matter. Every case, does matter who started it.
And I will say this: predators pick their prey. As a woman, I can say that. If you walk into a bar, if we all walk into a bar, and let's say I'm a dude, but I'm built like this, and I roll up with JD, I can guarantee you, if somebody wants to pick a fight, they're going to try to pick it with me versus trying to pick a fight with a big old boy like JD. This is a kid with a baby face, and he was a kid. He's 17. He still is a kid. So naturally, I can see how people would pick a fight with him, how grown men would pick a fight with him. He looks like an easy prey to where they can rough him up, video it, and maybe it goes viral. It just didn't work out.
You'll just have a hard time convincing me that if all the people that were there, with all these weapons that were there.
I'm not trying to convince you. You already made your mind up.
I didn't say you was trying to convince me. I'm just saying you never will. That these people who would not hurt anybody, who didn't kill anybody, nobody killed anybody except Kyle, that they just decided they was going to jump on this guy with the AR-15 strapped on his back.
Well,
I mean, so that isn't what happened. And we got a kid here who's been quoted as saying he just wants to be famous, bro, after getting an AR-15. So you stack all those things up, and it looks like this kid's kind of a piece of shit. And he interjects himself in a situation where he knows that bad trouble can happen quickly, and it happened, and he ended up getting away with it.
We don't know if that one kick to the head or if those 2 and 3 kicks or slings by the skateboard would have killed him. So he had a right to defend himself.
I agree with that.
He felt like he was going to get killed. Anybody would. I wouldn't think that somebody's hitting me in the head with a skateboard because they're trying to fix my blush. So I am totally in agreement that this trial ended the way it should be, because the case was point blank. Do you have a right to defend yourself if you feel like your life is threatened? And, it's a good precedent to set, especially for women who, fight off people and kill their predators.
But that's not the president that was said. The president to me that was set, and it seems to be of these nationalist groups that have taken to the internet, is, hey guys, let's load up with the AR-15s and the ammo, and let's roll into these cities, and we're going to get away with this shit. And it seems like the judge was trying to set a clear precedent that was okay. Don't come to Kenosha protest. You know, that during the trial, they couldn't even refer to those people that got killed as victims, but they could be referred to as rioters. That's very important, guys. That people show up wearing orange or they wear their street clothes is very important. And this judge, I mean, he's a joke to me.
I find it dangerous to criticize a judge who's been on the bench for 40 years, who was elected by all the people of Kenosha, Wisconsin, multiple
100%.
times, and
he got 100%
who knows the law better than any of us, and he made the decisions based on the laws in Wisconsin. And to criticize that judge is, again, dangerous, because you're asking the woke mob. We need to bow to the woke mob because they didn't like what he had to say. Same thing with this.
And remember, the judge was appointed by a Democrat, Tony Earl, a Democrat. So this isn't a raving Republican judge like they're trying to make it out in the media because his ringtone is "God Bless America." It's nothing like that. Kenosha is not this busting red spot. It goes back and forth. Matter of fact, they voted for Biden. I mean, Biden won Wisconsin.
I don't know why it's been a party thing. I guess.
Well, it shouldn't be. But the thing is no, but it shouldn't be a party thing. But the thing is he is getting criticized for enacting the law as a judge, but he's getting criticized by people because they don't agree with the things that he did. And that, to me, is the problem. And it kind of goes back to, and I want to kind of talk about this too, is who would want to be on a jury in something like this? You talking about pressure on a jury to make a decision when you've got the spotlight on you. You even had a reporter from MSNBC get kicked out of the courtroom because he was chasing the van down that the jurors were in. That, to me, is jury intimidation. You're trying to get the jury to go your way, and you're trying to intimidate the jury, and then the jury gets all the evidence, and every bit of the evidence that I saw, and I did kind of follow it pretty closely this week, every bit of the evidence I saw, this kid defended himself. Should he have been there? Absolutely not. What was his mom thinking? Letting him go to where there was a riot.
Right.
And, what was she thinking?
Bro. You want to be famous.
Well, and even if he said that, and now he's going to be rich. Because
he might not be as rich as what you all think he is. I know everybody keeps on saying that.
Look,
there's going to be a civil suit coming from these families as well.
Well, that's okay. He'll be able to pay him with all this money he gets from Joe Biden.
Good.
And seeing MS. Dude, Joe Biden is a clear case. Joe Biden called him a white supremacist. He slandered him.
Why did he? How do you know it's slander?
With no evidence.
With no
evidence.
evidence.
I mean, I don't know that. So you all educate me on this. He's never
tweeted it. There's a tweet out there that he calls him a white supremacist.
Right. Yeah. I understand that. What I'm asking is, why did Joe Biden call him that? Is it just because of this, or is Joe Biden seen his Facebook account or his Twitter account and all these other things?
This is when it first happened.
Because that's what.
So did Joe Biden see?
That's what mobs do. They automatically call you racist with no evidence. You can just up and say it. Boom, somebody's racist, and run with it. The media ran with it. Everybody ran with it, and they're all going to get sued, and they rightfully should.
JD, it was such a narrative. It was such a narrative that I literally thought the people that he killed were black. That was such the narrative. Like, I legit thought the people that he killed were black. I had no idea they were white. And no, he's going to end up. It's going to be like this kid from Fort Thomas that sued everybody.
Just so everybody knows why they thought he was a supremacist. That's not going to text message. Not from my dad either. He put up a white supremacy sign at a bar he used to work at, so that's why they call him a white supremacist.
Right. It came up.
Sometimes that shoe fits.
It came up in the case, and he took a picture with guys who evidently made a sign, and I don't even know what the sign is, but they say that young kids make it, and it means something else. So that's the evidence.
Yeah, it actually came up in the trial. That came up in the trial.
That's the evidence, which was completely laughed at. But good input, JD. But we already knew about it.
I mean, you already knew about it. But if you put up a racist sign, you're probably racist. If I put up something racist,
he didn't.
He did, but he didn't do it.
He didn't.
He was in the picture. It's being
He
spun
was in the
to.
picture.
Oh, okay. Well,
So remember that if you take a picture with somebody and they have a Confederate flag way back there and you don't know about it and you just happen to take a picture with a fan of the show, then we need to run and say you're racist. That's how people do.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You think this little 19-year-old was taking pictures with just random people who he didn't know were racist? Is that what you're saying? Or he was taking pictures with them because he knew they were racist? Which one?
It doesn't matter. Your argument says that he was putting up the sign. They literally brought it up in court.
Yeah, and like I said, that's one part. Now I can't agree with you there, JD. Just like it's already been disproven. That was absolutely disproven in court.
He's not racist.
Yeah, there was nothing that came out.
You don't know if he is, and
nobody knows that he is.
We don't know he's not either. Nobody knows.
We don't. So we have to go on evidence, and we have no evidence.
You don't have any evidence. That doesn't mean Joe Biden doesn't have any evidence.
The court does, and Joe Biden doesn't.
When Joe Biden said it, he was attacking Trump.
Lord,
This was when he was running for president. He attacked Trump and said, and straight up called this kid a white supremacist. He's going to get sued. CNN's going to get sued. MSNBC is going to get sued. NBC, CBS, all these people that painted the narrative of this kid being a white supremacist, and this is a racist issue, are going to get sued. And then hopefully,
good luck to him. He will win some lawsuits. He'll win some lawsuits.
He absolutely
because that's where we live now. But he's also going to lose some civil suits, I think.
No, we should all hope that he wins some lawsuits. We should not let the media run amok and be able to just grab somebody and make a storyline and ruin their reputation, ruin their life, and run with it. We absolutely should hope that he wins.
I don't know what April is, but okay. I'm
he is. He spins his race words all the time. I have as much evidence on Joe Biden. I can call him racist as you can Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, just like it.
No, I mean, as far as that goes, I want to talk about this jury pressure, though, because this is the thing that, for me, like I actually am on jury duty right now, right? Like, I've been called for it 50 times and gotten out of it. And then they told me this time, they were like, look, just do it. You're probably not going to get called in. It's COVID. They're settling everything out of court. You're not going to get called in. So I went ahead and put my name on. Then they can't call me for a, particular amount of time. Anyway, if I was on a jury, there's no way that they don't hear the noise from these TV stations, from the president or a guy running for president making the comments that he's making. There's no way they don't hear that, even if they're sequestered and they're by themselves. But the amount of pressure those people were under to come back, knowing that if they make the decision and say this guy's innocent, that they're going to cause a riot. That is a scary place to be, I think, and they're going to get criticized too. I mean, they're going to chase them down, try to dox these people. Do we think that's right? Because if they try to dox these people because they made a decision that wasn't what they wanted.
No, I think we should protect our jurors. Absolutely. Yeah. I think one of the things that really fascinated me about trials is jury selection. And I think the defense, didn't they dismiss every black person that was like, they wasn't a black person on the trial or the jury was there? I don't think. Does anybody know anything about that?
The what? I didn't get.
I don't think there were any black people on the jury. I think they dismissed all
one. But it's 80. Kenosha is 80% white, and they were randomly picked. There was a whole little thing, and that was the only thing that I thought was a little unusual. But this judge had been doing it for 30 years. But Kyle got to pick 6, and then the other side got to pick 6. Nobody knew who they were picking, and it just popped up.
Yeah, so no, that's a scary thing, I think, to be in the jury, on something like that, knowing that no matter what you do, and the right's just as guilty as the left is, in my opinion. No matter what you do, you're going to get criticized. My only thing is in most cases, the left tend to right, and the right doesn't in most cases.
But the left usually only riot when there's a Democrat for president. So I wasn't worried about Kenosha burning after the judgment came through.
So no, it was.
Everybody else was. So I'm glad you had the insight. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
no.
Where were they? I was right.
You was right. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no, but just very interesting, and even like just sitting here discussing it amongst the three of us, you can see how the differences of opinion come about. Like, while I don't necessarily agree with what JD was saying, I can see where people would maybe come to the conclusion that he has. I'm more in line with what Don's saying as far as based on what I saw, the evidence was clear, and the right decision was made. But yeah, I mean,
I hope I'm clear. Like, I think you should be able to defend yourself. But I don't think you should be able to start the fight and then claim you're the victim, because that's not how anything works ever.
Well,
but our argument is the fight would have never happened if the protest and civility would have been what we chose. But we never choose civility. We choose, let's protest, let's riot, let's loot. And then, you have...
And the protesters...
Even at that, though, had he still not... He still didn't have to interject himself. I didn't interject myself. And
I don't agree with a 17-year-old rolling down to a riot. I don't. I told my kids when Trump was president and the riots were active and all of this was being encouraged, I told my kids, don't go downtown. Don't go to the mall, because they were after the mall. They were running through the mall. Protesters were in Knoxville, and then they were protesting downtown. But, we squashed it pretty fast. But I don't know why the mom let him go up there. But those are not what the case was about. The case was about, did he murder or with intent to murder, or did he defend himself? That's what the case was. Everything else is just passion. So when it boils down to the jury and the jurors, I mean, hats off to them. And I know it's a right-wing talking point right now, but really not. If you were able to just look at the evidence and block everything out and just look at the facts and the evidence. And remember, they had a black guy on the jury too, and 7 women, 5 men, if I'm correct.
1 black guy out of 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 80%, and nobody. They were picked randomly.
Way more than 80%, though.
They were picked randomly, and whatever. Either way, my point is for them to be able to look at the evidence and the facts and the law and come to their decision is impressive with all of this going on around them.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, like I said, that I knew April said something here, and it was something it came to my mind. And, so this happens in Kenosha, right? If they protest in Kenosha, if they do what they do in Kenosha, I get that, right? Because it was in their town. This is their community. They have a right to protest. But then you had these protests popping up in all these different places where they were kind of looting and doing, just acting amok or running amok and saying it was because of that. Do you think that's right? Like, to me, I was like, come on, guys. Are you really protesting, or you just want to steal some stuff? Like that's what and maybe that's awful of me to say. I don't know.
I'm not. I can't.
Yeah, I don't
put
know.
myself in that seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought
so
that.
April, let me address April here for a minute. I'm gonna put her comment up here. And so April wasn't about race. Why does he keep saying not enough black people on jury? Because middle-aged white men generally have a lot of the same beliefs because they have a lot of the same life experiences. A lot of black people have a lot of the same beliefs because they have a lot of the same life experiences. That's why when you select jurors for some certain cases, a defense attorney always wants the progressive, or usually, depending on the case, I guess, if it's a progressive push, you want black women on your jury. It's a well-known fact. Because
the jurors were picked randomly, so they weren't.
I'm just talking about in general, Don, right now with whoever April is.
That's
why I was talking about race.
That's my sister.
Okay, so that's why I was talking about race, because you want a certain demographic. You want that jury to look a certain way. There's no doubt about it. That's why I'm talking about race.
Right, but how this jury was selected was random. It could have been the opposite. It could have been 8 black people, or whatever, but it wasn't. It was picked randomly. That's how this judge has been doing it for 20 plus years. And the reason why he started doing it like this was over a case that involved a black guy. And they said, hey, this isn't fair. Didn't get enough black people or whatever. So the judge is like, okay, I'm going to fix it. Everybody gets to pick random. So they put, like, it's a whole thing. Like, they put the little names in the thing and they shake it up like you do at bingo down Warfield, and you pull the numbers out and then you find out what you got.
And I don't think the trial was about race. I think it was made about race.
It was made. Everything's made about race.
Everything's made about race.
Everything is made about race.
And that's the one thing that, annoys me about, like cable TV in general. I mean, and you can talk about this from, the spinning, the right, Fox or whoever is going to say, oh, it's all about race. The other side, it's all about race. And they just, it just annoys me. that everything, you don't have an argument. You can't win an argument with facts or policy. It's about race. And that's the part that drives me crazy. Listen to, I like to hear people debate policy.
I need to address this a little bit one more time.
Okay.
So the jury pool was randomly picked, but juries are still questioned by lawyers who sits on the actual juror was not random. You get the lawyers still get the right to remove a certain number of jurors. So to say that the jury was random is incorrect.
You'll just have to look it up. You'll just have to look it up.
Yeah, because it was there. What I read there, it was randomly selected.
The jury pool was
random,
but the jury members weren't. Does that make sense? There's a pool.
No, what you're saying
18 to 20 people in a pool, and then the lawyers get to still have a certain number of people they can dismiss.
Right. And Kyle got to pick 6. So I'm assuming the other side got to pick their part.
There's only 18 or 20 people. If you pick 6 of them or 18 of them, there's only 6 of them. There's only leaves 12 left.
Yeah.
So it's not random. The pool's random.
Okay. We can agree on that. All right. So let's see. Anything else that we wanted to talk about that? I like that debate. That was a good debate about the different.
I still love you, Don.
I'm fine. I love you.
Don says whatever.
I hope you get to
it took her a minute.
I'm like,
she hesitated, JD. You may have to, when we get off air, you may have to kiss up just a little bit.
Oh goodness, no.
Get Don back on our side. But no, interesting talk. And like I said, I'll be interested to see I'll really be interested to see if he is able to sue all the people that
he'll sue some people. He'll win some. He'll win some.
Yeah.
But I feel some civil suits can come his way too.
I'm more interested in seeing if he doesn't get killed.
And I like this to kind of top the show off. It is Thanksgiving week. Are you guys a ham or a turkey family?
Ham, baby, all the way. We'll do ham.
Yeah, I'm turkey. Turkey. Hopefully we can find some this year.
Yeah, right. Well, I know Griffith Family Farms over in Paintsville. I think they still have some. I think that's what we're going to hit up. But no, now my favorite thing, and this is ridiculous, but one time a year, Amy makes stuffing. Okay.
Yeah.
And she bakes it with the turkey, right? So it surrounds the turkey. She stuffs the turkey with it, the whole thing, right? Kind of old school. And Amy's mom started this. I blame her. Celine is the one that let me do this. When they were baking the turkey, I would get to go in and I could take a fork and just dip out of the pan. And of course, all those juices are flowing on the stuffing and all that. And it's just a big, fatty, greasy mess, cardiac arrest right around the corner. And it is so good. And I cannot wait because now Amy does Thanksgiving here. Our entire family, her family and mine, all come here on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
And so Amy starts cooking the bird, at 10 o'clock that night, and it's on a slow heat. And the next morning you wake up, the whole house smells like turkey. God.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I love Thanksgiving.
I do too. Like JD, will you get to does people come to your house or?
The fried turkey is all. If I'm going to eat turkey, I want it fried. I want that, they drop it in the big thing or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know what I do for Thanksgiving. I guess mom's going to cook. I'm going to eat. And I'm thinking about taking a trip, man, and getting out of town for something. I don't know.
Well, JD's the holiday that Don. Thanksgiving is the holiday that JD and I excel at. Like we excel at Thanksgiving. Like
I've actually got a couple of awards for Thanksgiving.
Eating and napping and watching football. That's what goes on at my house.
Don, does your whole family get together, like your Kentucky family? And
the Kentucky family. The Kentucky family does get together. No, we don't see Todd's family. They're in Atlanta. So I've been doing my own holidays since I've lived in Tennessee. Because I wanted Reagan it changed when I had Reagan. So when I had her, I wanted her to remember just what you said, the house smelling like turkey and seeing me, cook and teaching her how to make all these dishes and stuff. So no, we do a big thing at our house and it's usually just me and my kids and Todd cool. And that's it. Yeah.
Well, good times. Good times. Oh no, like my granny used to make fried chicken.
Your sister wants to beat me up. Looks like.
Yeah. No, JD, you better watch your back, son. You know how them Harmons are. You don't mess with them Harmons.
She's full of love too, but yeah, she's got some fight in there too.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
And that was fun going back and forth. But
we hadn't done that in a few weeks. That was a good time. So guys, that'll be it this week for us for the show. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. I know all of us were really looking forward to getting together, kind of debating this one out after all the talk on Facebook this week. So really enjoyed the show this evening. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. of course, as soon as this is over, I'll get the podcast ready, upload it to Podbean. You can grab it from there if you want to listen to just the podcast. Make sure you stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram pages where there's a lot of good debate going on over there as well. All right, guys. Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. From myself, from JD, and from Don, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better.
Happy
See you guys next
Thanksgiving.
Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving.